Hi crafty friends, today I'm here sharing a tutorial to create an ugly sweater card. We are going to begin by placing a die cut of the ugly sweater that I've just cut out of white cardstock in a stamping platform. I then am grabbing the Gingy Dress Up stamp set. I'm using that bitten Gingy stamp, and I'm stamping that directly in the middle of this sweater die cut in some brown ink. I'm also grabbing the little dress stamp, and I'm going to align that to be right in the center of our Gingy, and I'm going to stamp that in brown ink as well. Now that everything is stamped, I'm moving on to coloring my image. I'm using my TriBlend markers in the golden brown blend, and I'm starting with my darker shade, doing some outlining. I then go in with my middle shade, and then of course my lighter shade. I do take my time coloring this, although this is the only image I'll be coloring aside from the sweater itself. I want to make sure that this is just how I want it because it is the focal of the sweater. I am going to go back in, and instead of doing strokes, I am also dotting, and that is just going to add more texture, as well as it gives the gingerbread the look that I'm going for by doing the dotting instead of just doing strokes. So that is my technique for this. Now I'm grabbing the pale pink blend TriBlend marker, and I'm adding some color to the dress, as well as the frosting on the arms and the legs. I am going to add the blue turquoise blend to the collar and the buttons. And now I'm going to grab my pale blend marker, and we are going to go in and color the sweater. So I just start by doing each sleeve first. I'm going in with my darker shade because I want to add some definition. And you know how with the shirt, you can see the seams where a sweatshirt is joined. So that is the look that I'm going for. So that's why I go in with my darker marker, and I try to outline everything. I also outline around my little Gingy. Once that is done, I'm just going to go in with my middle and my lighter tones, blending as I go. This is how my sweater is looking. Next, I've die cut out some of the zigzag trim that comes in the ugly sweater die set. I just die cut that out of some regular white cardstock, and I'm going to accent each arm of the sweater. So I'm just going to add my zigzags. I'm going to flip the strip around after I cut it and add it to each side for some extra interest. I also took the time to die cut out the ribbed portions of the sweater, so like the ends or the cuffs of each sleeve, the neck of the sweater, as well as the bottom of the sweater. I die cut those out using the gingerbread paper pad. I used one of my favorite sheets, which is that blue plaid. I just love it, and it goes well with the blue turquoise that I used for the collar and the buttons on this little gingerbread. Once those pieces are added, I go back with my pale pink TriBlend marker and I just go around the edges of the pattern, or the sweater, excuse me, to make everything seem more seamless. I also grab my white paint pen and I add some highlights to the gingerbread on the sweater. I don't do the sweater itself. I just want the image to have all of the little details. So I'm just going to grab my white gel pen or paint pen and do that. Moving on to other elements for the card, I have cut down a piece of that plaid that goes with the sweater in A2 size, so 5.5 by 4.25, and I'm just stamping on the Happy Holidays, a gift from me to you sentiment. This sentiment comes from the Winter Penguin stamp set. That is also available on the Pixie Dust Designs website. So if you like this sentiment and you think this stamp set is just adorable like I do, head over and grab that as well. I did heat set my sentiment after I stamped it. I just didn't show it. But I'm using some VersaFine ink, which is pigment ink. So I went ahead and heat set that. Now I'm just grabbing this scalloped image that I cut out of glitter paper, and I am going to pop that up using some foam squares, and the placement for this is going to be not centered. So I am going to have this almost kind of like a Polaroid composition. I want my Happy Holidays, a gift from me to you, to stand out at the bottom, but this piece will not be centered. Now that the scalloped rectangle is in place, I am working on placement for the sweater. I want that to be centered within that scalloped rectangle. So I'm just going to add a few squares and cut down a few to fit the sleeves. And we are going to pop that up on the card as well. You can stop here if you like, but I thought the card was still missing something. So I was able to lift the foam dots off the paper with no damage because of like the sheen on the paper. And I just slipped under some gold ribbon from my stash. I'm just going to tie that around the bottom of the scalloped rectangle gently. Don't tie it too tight. And I'm going to knot it and just cut off the edges. To make sure that everything is secure, I just took a small thin piece of double-sided adhesive and I added that underneath the ribbon to keep it in place. You can use wet glue, but this ribbon is kind of sheer, so I didn't want to use wet glue there. I also went back and die cut a hanger from the Ugly Sweater die set, and I just cut that out of some gold foil paper. And I'm going to tuck that behind the top of the sweater. I just love using the hangers as accents. It adds another pop of color. To finish this card off, I did go back and add a few gems. But guys, here is my completed ugly sweater card. Tell me what you think down below. Be sure to head over and follow all of the Pixie Dust Design social media. And have a great day.